Hi, everybody. Welcome to Debbie Neal's Central Nation Huddle. We have an incredible guest speaker tonight, and I am truly so excited. We have been having these guest speakers for the summer each Wednesday, and we're just so pumped. We asked our team in our group chats, who do we want? Who do we want to hear from? Who do we love seeing on social media? Who are we inspired by? And Kaitlyn was, if not the first, one of the very first people that everybody was requesting. So we are here. We are so excited with our pens in our hands, truly just at your feet, excited to hear about your journey, excited to hear about what you have to share, and so grateful for you taking the time out of, I'm sure, your busy schedule with your two beautiful babies and your incredible thriving business. So I'm so grateful for you. I'm going to turn it over to you. And thank you again so much for coming on here and sharing your heart with us tonight.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
I don't mean to interrupt one thing before I forgot. I said I was going to make you the host after I started the recording, but I made you the host before I started the recording. I like to prove that anybody could do this. So if you could hit record and record to the cloud so we don't miss anything, that would be incredible.
As we're recording already, do you want me to do it again?
Oh, it does say recording already? Oh, then maybe I did it. You know what? Today, anybody who's been watching me on Facebook, it's been a very emotional day for me and my family. So didn't realize I started the recording. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I want to say first to both Debbie and Brooke, seriously, thank you guys so much for having me. When Brooke reached out and asked me, I was like, oh my gosh, me? Are you serious? So this is a complete honor. And I've been so pumped to share with you guys and to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, like Brooke said, my name is Kaitlyn Bruza. I'm a National Vice President and Independent Consultant in Arbonne. And I do want to share my story. And before I do that, my story, of course, is not typical. To see what is, please visit earnings.arbonne.com. But I want to take you through my journey, especially for those of you who do not know me. My journey started a little over 4 years ago. When I was introduced to Arbonne, you guys, I was actually pregnant at the time. I was pregnant, preparing for my first baby. I was working 3 jobs. Yes, I said that right. You heard that right. I was working 3 jobs. And to make my life crazier, I was in college pursuing a nursing career. As you can imagine, I was mentally, physically so drained. And when I was introduced to Arbonne, I was like, lady, are you nuts? Do you not see how crazy my life is? Do you really think that I could take on one more thing? And I said no. I didn't even listen about the opportunity. I said no. Fast forward a little bit, you guys, and I had my daughter. And before I had my daughter, working those 3 jobs, I was saving up so that I could spend 4 weeks at home with her without working. Well, that money we had saved up went way quicker than we could have ever planned. When she was 2 weeks old, I had to go back to work. I was devastated. Looking back, that's still so hard. Mother, you're supposed to have those first moments. You're supposed to spend those precious firsts at home, soaking it all up. And when my baby was 2 weeks old, I went back to work. If I wasn't at work, I wasn't getting paid. But like any good mother, you do what you have to do, right? So I started working again. I have a newborn, working 3 jobs, in school, studying, doing all the things. And I was doing that for weeks. And when my daughter turned 6 weeks old, my now sponsor, she reintroduced the opportunity to me. And she asked me a question, you guys, that changed everything for me. She said, look, if you keep doing what you're doing, where are you going to be in 5 years? And you guys, it hit me like a sack of bricks. I was mortified. I knew that I was going to be in the same place, just a lot more tired, a lot more stressed, a lot more unhappy, a lot of things that I knew I couldn't afford to do or be, right? And that's when I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try it. And it wasn't that I all of a sudden had confidence. In fact, I really thought I was going to fail. I thought it was, I thought I was going to be making a mistake, but I still jumped in. And I started my Arbonne business. So here I am starting my Arbonne business, taking on a 4th job while having a newborn, while in school. People thought I was nuts. They were like, are you okay? We know you have this new life, but like, do we need to check in on you? Are you all right? People told me to have a backup plan. People, told me to prepare, it wasn't going to work out. They told me all the things, right? And it would have been so easy for me to listen to those things, right? But I didn't. In fact, I actually, once I caught on to the vision, I remember so vividly, you guys, I remember so vividly saying to myself, okay, she's a newborn right now. If I can buckle down, if I can work this business really hard, and if I don't quit, I could be to the top of this business by the time she's 5 years old. When she's 5 years old, she's going to be in kindergarten. But if I'm at the top of this business, I could be at home. I could be a stay-at-home mom. I could do this. You guys, that was a vision that I had. And I share that because too often I see people quit after 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, right? We see it all the time. And I remember telling myself, I will be to the top in 5 years, right? And to speed up my story, you guys, I put my head down and I worked my business. And today, you guys, that newborn is now a sassy 4-year-old. I have a little boy who will be 1 next month. That's so crazy. And when he was born, you guys, last August, it really, really brought it all together for me. Like I said, I built my way to the top 1% of this business. And when I brought him home last August, I had this moment where I was like, this is it. It brought me back to when I brought my daughter home. Not for 1 second did I have to worry about finances. Not for 1 second did I have to worry about when I was going to go back to work. The only thing I had to worry about was, what cute outfit are we putting on? What are we going to go do today? Those are the precious moments that I would have never had I not decided 4 years prior to do something different. It wasn't that I had confidence. I just had courage to go, to do, because I knew that if I did something different, it was going to take me somewhere different. And you guys, I say that and I share that because I know there's tons of you who may have a busy life, or maybe that you're in a season of life where it's hard and it's confusing and all the things. I've been there. I still am there. But the thing is, you guys, the only way I built my business in the beginning was just putting it into the nooks and crannies of my day. So I want you to know that you too can build this business right through the nooks and crannies of your day. Because I want to be honest with you, everyone's busy. That's just an excuse. Okay, so enough about me. I want to get into, they asked me to share my top tips, and I'm going to share with you guys my top tips. And I kind of have woven in some training in there. And so first off, I want to say these are probably tips, you guys, that you've probably heard before. These are probably tips that you're going to first hear and think, okay, those are simple, but you probably know by now, especially in this business, simple does not mean easy. In fact, that's the difference. Are you willing to do what isn't easy, right? Okay, so tip number one, I hope you have your pen and notebooks ready. Tip number one, work hard. Now, I know you just heard that and you're like, woo, light bulb, that's what I've been missing. I know, it sounds simple, right? But tell me why 99% of people don't do this every day. They don't, right? In this business, you have to work hard. You have to have a great work ethic, right? And I don't know at what point in our world, or really in this industry, I don't know why people think that you can have success or this awesome, luxurious life without working hard, right? Where did that belief come from? Can we make that popular again, to work hard? Can we make that a trend, to work hard? Because in this business, you have to work hard. You have to have a great work ethic. You have to be willing to work when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when you're not getting that instant gratification, right? Years ago, North Carolina women's soccer coach, he was driving to work early one day. And as he was driving, he saw one of his players in a deserted field by herself, just putting in extra work. He never stopped, Didn't say anything to her, never said anything. But what he did do is he actually wrote a little letter, stuck it in her locker. And that letter said, "The vision of a champion is someone who's bent over, drenched in sweat at the point of exhaustion when nobody's watching." If you know soccer, that player is actually Mia Hamm. She went on to be one of the greatest in the sport of soccer. And I love that story because it's such a testimony of putting in the work, working hard daily when no one's watching, when no one checks on you and asks, you're doing it anyways, right? You're working in the silence, because here's the thing, you guys, you have in this business, you have to work behind the scenes. If you're not putting in work behind the scenes, guess what? You're not going to have a showtime. And what's really sad this day and age with our social media, there's too many people getting caught up in their showtime. You know what I'm talking about? Putting on this lifestyle for everyone to see. People get up in that. They're forgetting the work that has to go on in the behind the scenes time. And even if you get that showtime, it's not going to last long if we're not putting in that work, right? Peyton Manning, and yes, you probably hear by now another sports example. I love sports. Peyton Manning, if you don't know who that is, he is retired now, but he was a quarterback, an NFL quarterback. And he years ago was drafted at a very young age. And they asked him, they said, "Oh my gosh, what are you going to do now with all of this money?" And can we just stop and think for a second? Like, what would the average young person do who walked into millions of dollars? I mean, it'd be quicker for us to name the things they wouldn't do, right? So anyways, they asked Peyton, they said, "What are you going to do with all this money?" You guys, he said, "I'm going to go out there and I'm going to earn it." You guys, no matter if you're a consultant on this call, a district manager, area manager, regional vice president, national vice president, in this business, we have to show up every day and earn it by working hard, right? Because the truth is we're not entitled to anything. What we are is we're entrusted. We're entrusted. And I actually tell my team all the time, you don't work for me, I work for you. And so I want to encourage you to wrap up this tip, to get in the habit. And notice how I say habit. I hate the word motivation. Can I just be honest? I hate the word motivation. It's temporary. It's temporary. Get into the habit of working hard daily. And again, that sounds simple, right? But tomorrow when you wake up, are you going to work hard all day? And then you're going to wake up and do it again? And then wake up and do it again? Wake up, do it again? Doesn't sound so simple anymore, does it? You have to get into the habit of working hard every day. That is how you earn it, you guys. Number 2, being consistent. I'm so passionate about this topic because it's so important. Being consistent. In this business, you guys, you're either making progress or you're making excuses. You're either growing or you're dying. And I'm not going to ask people to raise hands, but I do want you to ask yourself, which one are you? It's either or, right? And the thing about consistency, you guys, is it separates winners from the wannabes, right? Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants that. Who wouldn't want that, right? And the thing about all of us is we all have dreams inside of us. We all have dreams. And the dream inside of us is free. But to see those dreams come to life, it comes with a price to pay, right? And so what you do daily, your success lies in your daily habits. It lies in your daily consistency. And the thing, you guys, the biggest enemy to our momentum in this business is inconsistency. And here's the ugly truth. Your inconsistency will show up quicker than your consistency, right? So what do you have to do? You have to stop doing the important things some days and start doing the important things every day, right? So I'm going to give you some examples. Say maybe you are consistent, but you have no priorities. You're probably not successful, but you're dependable. Or maybe you do have priorities, but you don't have consistency. You're successful sometimes, right? Or maybe you have priorities and you also are consistent. That means you're successful continually, right? And so the thing also about consistency is it establishes our reputation, right? Anybody can be good once in a while. The success separator among people is being consistently good, right? And so you've probably heard this before, but average people, they show up to the game and then they leave the game. What do leaders do? They get in the game and they stay in the game, right? And crud, I forgot my book over there. I had this example, but I don't know if you've ever seen this penny example, but basically if you had a penny and you doubled it every day for 31 days, a lot of you are shaking your head. Anyways, it ended up being like millions of dollars. I read that and I was like, I'm going to stop letting my pennies fly out of my pocket and go to the bottom of my purse and the floorboard of my car, right? You guys, the example of that penny though, when you double it every day for 31 days, it ended up being, over 10 million. It was like 10.4 or something like that. The examples just show you that consistency compounds, right? It takes time for the little things being working hard, putting in work behind the scenes, working when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it's silent. It takes time for the little things to add up to the big things, right? And so, you may see people who are having fast starts with their business, and that's great. That may even, fast starts in this business turns heads. But guess what consistency does in this business? It turns your profit, right? So number 3, you guys, I love this one. Have perseverance and never quit. Sorry, my dog's going crazy back there. Have perseverance and never quit. You guys, we know this. Many, many, many people begin and fewer finish. And I don't know why it frustrates me, but failure has such a negative connotation. People think in this business that if they fail one time, that's it. They're done. They weren't cut out for this. They should have never started, right? Some examples of that, maybe you think your business is going slower than you had planned. You missed your DM promotion last month by just a little sliver. You lost your area manager title. People on your team are quitting. Or maybe you're like, dang, I haven't added anyone to my team. No one's joining me yet. Well, here's the truth behind that. Some people will. Some people won't. So what? People will join you. You have to stay long enough for them to join you. And what you also have to do is remove the option to quit, right? Because if you have that option to quit, if you have that back door, guess what? You will use it every single time. And so what I say to this about failure is I want you to embrace failure. Learn to embrace it, like literally welcome it with open arms. Because failure, you guys, is part of your journey. I mean, think about all the successful people that you know, not just in Arbonne, but in life, right? How do you think they got there? Because they failed over and over again. The only difference is when they failed, they stood back up and they did it again. They stood back up and they did it again. They did it again, right? So Brooke mentioned when we first got on here, I actually have a video for you guys. When I was putting together this training, it reminded me of one of my favorite motivational speeches. And I was like, oh, I have to share it with them. I just have to. So I really want you to zone in, and it's a couple minutes long. So I want you to zone in and listen because it's truly, truly so powerful. I believe, I'm host, so I can go ahead and share. Hold on. Okay. Can you guys, Brooke, I can see you. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. Okay, you guys, hopefully this doesn't play any of those dumb ads. So here we go.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Without consistency, you'll never finish. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it because it's inevitable. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed, and I prayed. But I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're gonna get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior. The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Okay, you guys, I don't know about y'all, but that gets me so hype. I wish I could keep it going. It's about 10 minutes long, but you guys can Google that or search that in your time. But I'm not kidding. I listen to that probably once a month. I need to fire myself up. So I want to ask you guys, do you have the guts to fail? Because like you said, if we're not failing, I'm not even trying, right? I'm not even trying. To get something we've never had, to go somewhere we've never been, we have to do things that we've never done, right? So to close, you guys, I wanna ask you one last question. What do you need to start doing in your business that you have not been doing? They can inevitably change it all for you. So thank you guys so much. Again, it was such an honor to share with you guys. I hope you can take one little nugget away from this. Like I said, it's been such an honor and a blessing to be here. And thank you again to Debbie and Brooke.
Kaitlyn, that was outstanding. I've never heard you speak. And so I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And you shared so much wisdom. And then at the same time, and I'm saying this with so much love and respect, you shared the same thing that everyone that has succeeded in Arbonne knows. And I mean that with love, right? And I love to hear the stories because stories are my favorite part, right? You have this why, and your life could have looked very different. Having 3 jobs and a baby and being in college and your age, right? Because we haven't, the maturity and the wisdom and all these things that come as we grow through life truly was a recipe to see if we can get maybe some hype in a period of time. And then if we didn't, there was a backup plan, right? And there was a built-in whole set of excuses, right? But you can either make money or you can make excuses. You cannot make both. And so I'm first of all, that was your little baby girl on the screen when you first opened it, right? Okay, like that was a stunning picture of both of you. I don't think I saw your son in there. It was just the 2 of you, but it was gorgeous. And so congratulations. And the first thing you said was work hard. And so here's the thing about this, you guys, because I always like to add in my 2 cents. So, we talk about the recipe for success and we talk about, getting in front of 40 faces. I want to be, and I'm saying this with so much love, that's not my definition of hard. That's my definition of, I don't want to say doing the bare minimum, but that's what average people who want to succeed do, right? And so when we say that our stories are not typical and they are not average, I think of my story. My story was different than Kaitlyn. I didn't talk to 40 people my first month in Arbonne. I talked to 100 my first week in Arbonne. And that's where we do those things without, it wasn't because I was looking for somebody to post something on Instagram or post something on Facebook. It was because I wanted to succeed in Arbonne more than I wanted to breathe. More than I wanted to breathe. And all I kept thinking about was, this is the way for me and my family. And so when people get tempted, I wasn't tempted. I know this might sound like, well, I want more freedom. I wasn't tempted to go somewhere for 3 or 4 days. And there wasn't even a temptation. The way somebody who's so committed to the 30-day program, you become so in love with eating healthy that a lot of times there's not even a temptation to put a piece of cake in front of your mouth. When people say, oh my gosh, I'm, my significant other and they want to go away for the weekend or go on vacation, that's fine. You could do whatever you want to do. I wanted to succeed more than I wanted to breathe. And I was building this for those people that wanted to go away and do all of those things. So I want you to really think about, you know what I love about the summer? This is the training camp. This is that you're in the gym. This is when you are putting in that effort to really show up in the September, the October, the November, and the December. It's having the discipline it is great to do 30 minutes of reach out today. That's consistent. But you really want to lead yourself and lead your team to the top of this company? What about 2 hours a day? What about 3? What about as long as it took? And some people might sit here and say, I don't want to do that, Deb. That's fine. You know what I love about Arbonne? It could be as big or as small as you want it to be. But I want you to decide what working hard is, because, I had a list of what I considered hard when I was doing Arbonne. And I read that list all the time, and it kept me focused. So some of the things that were hard to me, I knew that finances had to change in my house. Hard was going to leave my children for 8 hours a day. Okay. That might have felt like my comfort zone because I wasn't pushing myself. I wasn't stretching myself. I worked in corporate America, and I say this with love. It was easier for me to be a good employee than a disciplined entrepreneur. It took game. It took guts. It took courage. I was no longer following a list that was on my desk, right? Even though I was the director of training, I still had a superior, just like everybody else does in corporate America. So I wasn't the owner of CVS. I was a director that had a superior that followed the rules. And so going back to that wasn't an option. So I had a list of commuting to me was hard. Not being able to be home when my children were sick was hard. Not being to look at my children and say it's really expensive to take a family of 4 on a vacation, that would have been hard. Okay, saying no to travel sports and gymnastics. You know, when Brooke was in gymnastics when she was really young, she probably doesn't even realize this. She was in gymnastics so young. I want to say she was doing it at like 5 years old. It was $1,000 I want to say it was every 2 weeks. I want to say we spent $2,000 a month for gymnastics. Like not having the money for that stuff, that would have been hard. Not being there when a loved one needed me, that was hard. So I would read over those lists and be like, you got to choose your hard. Having discipline is hard. Stepping out of your comfort zone is hard. Working harder than everybody else is hard. Reaching a certain level and realizing, oh my gosh, I not only have to keep working, I've got to work harder because now I'm at a new level that I haven't really grown into yet. I don't have the skills yet. I don't have the discipline yet. I grew to that level like everybody grows to that level with the energy and the fire and the passion. But now, when the honeymoon's over, it's doing those things, not only day in and day out, but better and better and better. Every single one of us has what it takes to succeed in Arbonne. And I can tell you this from my 15 years, there isn't a job on the planet that could knock on my door and enroll me or make me an offer that I would take. And I am sure there are plenty of jobs on this planet that would earn me more, possibly than I make in Arbonne. I am a 1% of a 1% in this business. I am an above average income earning national vice president, and you can go to earnings.arbonne.com for that. But somebody could knock on my door and put any price tag. My time isn't for sale. My life is not for sale. I will not negotiate with the minutes that I have on this earth because I know better. And when you know better, you do better. And so I'm here and will continue to build this business because I know the greatest earning potential is helping other people reach their fullest potential. And this is a business model that hasn't even scratched the surface of growth. But to reach the heights that most of us dream about, it takes doing what most people won't. It takes becoming the next version of ourselves. It's like peeling away those onions, those layers of the onion, and committing to excellence. It's like whatever. I remember one of the first pieces of advice, and then I swear I'm almost done. Like I wasn't the trainer, but that's why we saved me for the end because I always love the trainer so much and I get to spin off on it. I remember a piece of advice that I was given to me very early on in my Arbonne business. And it really is like my MO. It used to be called bonuses. We don't call them bonuses anymore. We call them milestones. But I remember I was given this piece of advice. Earn your district. Earn every single milestone you have the ability to earn. So in other words, if you're if you're an area, you're an ass, earn every milestone. Okay. If you're an area manager, it's your 2 milestones. If you're a regional vice president, your 3 milestones. If you're a national vice president, your 3 milestones. Earn every single milestone, every single month, regardless of how many direct managers you promote out. And then when you master that, do it earlier, do it sooner, promote, like that's it. You can take that formula and you could build nations on it. So if you are not yet a district manager, be obsessed to promote, right? Get in that activity. Once you become a district manager, you're obsessed for excellence. Your milestones are your standard for excellence. You're all born amazing, but there's bars. There's different bars in this business, right? Make that anything under that. You push yourself. Like sometimes we go to bed. There's nights I go to bed on the close and I'm like, yeah, I could have done more, right? I mean, let's be honest. And then there's nights where I'm like, everything I had was on that dance floor. And until you're going to bed and every single thing you've got is on that dance floor and you left nothing untapped, you've got more. And so it's pushing yourself. You can't enroll great until you become great. And we all have a level of excellence. We all have a standard. So it's creating those standards. And then once you earn your district manager milestone, and then you see maybe somebody's ready to promote out, it's like, okay, I'm preparing myself. This leader's promoting out. That's always my mindset is I'm earning that bonus without that manager, without that manager, without that manager. And even if somebody falls back in my central, you guys, I'm so disciplined with this that I mentally remove them from my number. Okay. So somebody be like, I'm going to earn, think if somebody falls back in my central at any manager level, I do not include them mentally, even though they count in that number. Some of you might be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but those of you that are managers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You guys take this summer to level up your game, level up your effort, level up your courage, level up your grit, level up your consistency, and be willing to outwork everyone. And the last story I'm going to close with, I remember I was a new regional vice president and I went to my first conference. And my results are not typical. They are not average. It was my 3rd month in Arbonne. And I remember walking into that conference thinking I was the bomb. I'm like, I want everybody to see my name tag. I want everybody to know, if everybody asks, is the time limit that I grew in Arbonne. And it was the first time I was actually around a real live national vice president. And I remember seeing these top leaders, and it was a smaller United States conference, but there was like 5,000 people there. And I saw these amazing, powerful women walk the stage. There wasn't men at the time that walked in the top 10 or top 15 income earners. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, how in the world am I going to get myself to that level? How in the world? And then I was like, boom, thank goodness the light bulb was invented, because I had a light bulb moment. And I'm like, I'm going to outwork everyone. I'm going to go home. I'm going to put my head down. And when they're all cheering and they're all clapping and they're all comparing and they're all looking to be the shiny penny, I'm going to be the one in that old dirty gym in Rocky. And I'm going to practice like a beast, because I didn't join this game to play. I joined this game to dominate. And I'm going to be here in 5 years, and I'm going to be here in 10 years. I'm going to do whatever this takes to build this foundation for me and my family, and to build a legacy that's so big and so wide and so powerful that there will be generations upon generations that will remember this legacy. You guys, you have that much power. So it is July. I love July. This is the month that I went region qual in my business, and my results are not typical. I also ended that year as a national vice president. So I want you to really dream big and realize that you have the potential. When you put your head down, don't look to the left, don't look to the side, put your phone down. There's nothing on social media you need right now. Reach out to people, but get to work, because the view from the top is breathtaking. And what's going to happen with our new CEO is going to be absolutely amazing. So I love you all. Kaitlyn, thank you for taking the time to be here with us. I really appreciate it. I'm really proud of you. You're beautiful from the inside out. Thank you. And if you don't mind stopping the recording, because I made you a host, and you can make me back the host again if you can.